This is a course that Carl and I developed because we were talking and comparing some notes. We were spending an awful lot of time educating clients on these patterns, we're looking at the borderline personality disorder pattern through an NLP lens. But we're finding that a lot of the pain that we encounter when working with clients has something to do with these patterns. And instead of spending multiple sessions helping a client learn something and having to do it 4 or 5 times in a week, we thought we should just do a class on this. Our first time we did the class, it was 2 days. And Carl and I were blown away by how much people really appreciated being in the class with other people while they learned it. It's now 2 3 day weekends. And in it, you're going to learn a lot about the patterning. We'll show the patterning through some developmental stages and also just through what the impacts are, what the damage that gets done is, how to manage the people in your life who might have this. And we don't distinguish a lot between personality. We're not diagnosing between personality disorder and patterning. There are a lot of people who have borderline patternings that are not full on borderline personality disorders, but they're just as confusing to work with and to interact with. You don't necessarily have a lot of them as clients, but your clients are often at the mercy of these people.
Let's put it this way. Almost no one who takes this class is someone who would be afflicted with what would be officially diagnosable as borderline personality disorder. The full name of which, when they first invented the diagnosis, I think in the late 20s, was borderline psychotic personality disorder. But that label freaked everybody out because it had the word psychotic in it. So they had a meeting and they said, what can we do? And someone said, why don't we just leave off the word psychotic? And then someone else popped up and said, and hope no NLP people ever met a model us by asking, borderline what exactly, doctor? So people who are afflicted with this patterning do not attend this class, with rare exceptions. The
Yeah.
people who attend this class are their family and their coworkers. And all we want to do is explain how this works, and to the extent that anyone can do anything for or with someone who is afflicted with this patterning, how that might occur.
This is the class that will explain almost every confusing relationship you've ever had. We do encounter these people in our lives, and they are very confusing because they don't operate by the same rules that the rest of us do. And being able to understand it and to identify it, and also be able to help people you're working with who are dealing with somebody in their lives that has this is incredibly valuable.
It is an affliction. It is a terrible affliction.
Yeah, we could talk for a long time about this, but understanding these patterns just helps make so much make sense and to help with so much pain. We are going to be talking about the patterns, exploring how, like, where we might find it in our life. If we do, the first weekend is a lot of information and a lot of kind of thing going on,
Yeah, you we
even more
recommend
so
people
than meta
wear
programs.
we recommend people wear gauze pads so that they don't bruise themselves. Because, as Carlos said, every confusing, sometimes terrifying relationship experience you've ever had, whether it's at work or personal.
Yeah. We'll also talk about what happens if you are the child of someone with this patterning and what happens when you are the partner of somebody with this patterning and how breakups go because they're different and like some of the other things that happen that and how it happens because people can find themselves in these relationships without even seeing it coming. And so we're going to give you enough information to begin to see it coming. And then the second weekend, we start doing some change patterns for creating more and more rapport with yourself and more ways to come back into rapport with yourself in the face of these patterns. So it's really valuable for your own personal growth. And it's, if you want to work with clients, we
Yeah.
really recommend that you do this. But you need to know it's not an easy class. It's gut wrenching, but you're glad when you get through the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the first things we noticed when we first did it in person was the number of people, really sophisticated, magnificently well-educated people, who put their hand up and said, "Oh my God, I thought I was the only one."
Yeah. there is something so therapeutic about hearing little bits and pieces of other people's stories and being able to come out of that space. Because when you're in this relationship, especially if it's a parent, you're the child is always having to choose, am I crazy or are they crazy? And this helps you find a place where you don't have to have an answer to that.
And the default answer for the child is, I'm the one who's broken. And at the same time, they're just outraged about the violation of life's rules with no way to say that or even think it. So anyway, it's be two of the worst weekends of your life, we promise, and the two of the most
The
valuable.
last day of the second weekend, there's a lot of relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.